Hello grade 9s, we are on page 26 and we're going to look at the National Credit Act. Why is there a National Credit Act and what's the goals of the National Credit Act? Okay, so the National Credit Act came into effect only in 2006 in our country, South Africa, and they offer guidelines to businesses that offer credit to customers. Okay, so people buy from certain businesses and the guidelines is therefore to the businesses that offer this credit to the customers. Okay, so there's a couple of aims or goals of the Act. Okay, so the overall aim is to protect the consumer or the buyer against some of the businesses and financial institutions that offered them reckless credit or credit in a reckless manner. Okay, so what do I mean by that? You offer credit to people, people can buy on credit, they don't have to pay immediately, and then you offer a reckless credit because you know this person can't really pay it back, and then you still offer him the credit, which means he has to pay it back, but he can't pay it back, and these buyers then get into a lot of trouble, they get blacklisted, etc., and that is not what we want. So the aim was to protect the consumer against people that offer this reckless credit. And the other thing is they also offer it at very high interest rates, like 25%, 50%. And because many of these people aren't very literate, they sign the contracts and then they get themselves into very big trouble without knowing that in the beginning. Okay, so the different aims of the NCA are therefore to ensure that the suppliers are not recklessly allowing credit. The people that sell to them, they don't allow reckless credit, only to customers that could possibly afford it. Okay, and that consumers are not exploited by unfair contracts. What I said earlier, unfair contracts, high interest rates, unfair terms to pay it back in a shorter time. So there's specific guidelines that is given to businesses, and they have to change their contracts to adhere to this NCA or National Credit Act. Thirdly, consumers are able to make informed decisions to avoid overcommitting themselves. Okay, so you don't never want to overcommit yourself with credit, because then you are not in the position to pay it back. Okay, so to avoid overcommitting themselves to borrowing or buying on credit to the extent that they are not able to repay the debt. So the goal of the National Credit Act is we don't want people to pay to take out credit that they're not able to pay back. Okay, so that's the three aims, overall aim, and the three aims listed below of the National Credit Act.